Live from Seattle, Washington, it's Pac-12 Women's Volleyball presented by Kyra. A top 10 matchup. UCLA, the 8th-ranked team in the nation, comes to take on the 5th-ranked Washington Huskies. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anne-Marie Anderson alongside Tammy Blackburn. And Tammy, before we talk about this match, let's take a look back at Friday night. USC came to town, and the Huskies took it to them.
Well, USC was unbeaten and #1 in the nation. University of Washington defending their home court in Alaska Airlines Arena with a 25-match streak in Pac-12 play. They had to be sharp because when they played at Los Angeles in early October, they weren't as sharp as they needed to be. They wanted more chances. On the block, they were fantastic, but it was Cassie Strickland at the end of the match and the celebration, and they know how important that win was.
Yeah, that celebration lasted all of about 10 minutes because now they have to face a UCLA team whose middles have been on fire.
Well, they've been very good because UCLA has been doing a very nice job in their smalls and libero. They have absolutely been passing fantastic. And when you can pass to these players up in the middle, Claire Felix, Jenny Frager, they're going to put the ball away. But remarkably, their block defense has also been solid. And the key for Michael Seeley and the Bruins is consistency. And here, Anne-Marie, you see the consistency in their numbers.
When you look at that number production out of the middle, you understand this other number. UCLA has won 8 matches in a row. Meanwhile, Tammy, you mentioned Washington on a 26th home winning streak in Pac-12 play. This is not going to be a short match. Lots of firepower. We'll take you through lineups and first serve coming up right after the break.
Pac-12 Network.
Welcome back to Seattle, a top 10 matchup on Pac-12 Networks. First, let's take a look at the standings in this conference because there is going to be a seismic shift in the ABCA Top 25. Texas lost this week as well, but let's talk Pac-12 first, Tammy.
Well, USC, that 10-1 slot, big win for Washington just the other night, and so USC will slide away. But Washington at 9-2, 19-2 overall. You see UCLA right there, 9-2 as well. These two teams, not only similar records, but similar momentum right now at this time of the year, important.
So key when we take a look at UCLA's lineups. Michael Seeley's been working with a team that's had a few injuries here and there, but the setter has changed in the last couple of matches, Tammy.
Yeah, well, Zana Muno, who has been in and out of this lineup. You have Ryan Chandler, who actually has not traveled with this team to the Washington schools. Both are very capable setters. Michael Seeley has confidence in both, and based on the momentum of the game, he will move one in and out on that rotation. However, Zana Muno played the other night at Washington State, put up some very good numbers, and she's a reliable setter.
Absolutely. Keegan Cook, meanwhile, also has dealt with a few injuries. By the way, right now he's without Carly DeHogue. He did get Courtney Schwann back recently. What's the key to their success?
Well, Schwann, you just said it, in the outside hitter, a team that is very good, very well known for their middles, looking for consistency in their pin hitters, and boy, have they had it. Courtney Schwann, who has led this team in kills per match 11 different times.
When you look at Liana Sebelden in the middle and Frager and Felix in the middle, of course Melanie Wade as well. Tammy, we always love to see the middles, but with Sebelden hitting an unbelievable 488, you can bet she's the top of the recruiting report.
She has just been absolutely, consistent, and 26 straight home conference wins in Alaska Airlines Arena.
Melanie Wade starts off serving Formico, perfect pass. And of course, they run the middle straight away. With Frager's kill, she goes back to serve, and Felix comes in up front. Frager, a junior out of Rancho Santa Fe, California. Help from the net cord. Bang goes Schwann.
Now, nice read, and just goes cross-court again. The pin hitters for Washington have been consistent. They graduated Krista Van Sant last year, so a few questions coming in and who might be the go-to, but this is a Washington team on the pins. They're leading by committee.
Bushler chased down by Strickland. Again, chapped by Bushler.
Bushler has been playing very, very well. She had a career high 21 kills, 6 digs, and that 5-setter versus Oregon State not too long ago. You see how she reads the block, had some time, and went away from the block. Nicely done.
Strickland on the money outside. Chrissy Jones pulls out the left paw, and it was ruled down.
Chrissy Jones with a soft touch and a point. Husky. Serving point to Swan.
Swan suffered a foot sprain in the first set against UCLA down in Westwood. Last time these two met, only played the first set. Tries a little tenderness straight back.
Yeah, you know, and I think that play right there starts with Riley Bushler, who receives that serve very, very well. She had to adjust. That ball was floating and cutting in the air. She gets a good pass up to the setter, good execution on the tip.
Yeah, both of these teams, excellent passing teams. So Belvin. Outside, Scambray. Goes right over Enoy's head. Enoy knows exactly where the line is.
Well, she reads it well. She anticipated. I mean, you saw the perimeter defense sort of get set with that. A little off-speed shot there. We're going to take a look at it. Looks like it hit the line to me, but, you know, we're up here at a very different angle.
Chrissy Jones. Jordan Anderson. That's a tough angle coming over her shoulder.
Jordan Anderson, a great story. The transfer from West Virginia University, what an addition to this UCLA squad. Has been battling some injuries, but they lean on her, and she's a capable, reliable player.
Ace serve from Cassie Strickland. And that's the way the match ended against USC, Tammy, with a tough serve.
Cassie Strickland really had a tough serve Friday night against USC for match point that was mishandled, and then the put away on that down ball.
Enoy on the money. Back. What an angle from Scambray.
Her numbers have continued to improve. The first 14 matches of this season, she was hitting 190. She's hitting 260 in the last 7 matches, and it's because she's getting more comfortable reading the block and taking different shots.
That one long from Strickland. He's a go big or go home kind of server.
And, you know, that's okay with Keegan Cook. He says, I want her to rip it every time. I want her to be her identity, and that's her identity, that tough, aggressive jump serve.
Formico goes at Scambray down the line. Statistically, Tia Scambray passed half of the Huskies' total passes last year. They went after her, and so she has been finely honed in terms of her passings at the Keegan Cook. One hand up from Formico off of July. Chased by Enoy. Free ball. Big block, but the middles, if you will, of UCLA keep popping it up.
I think the key to that sequence and that rally was some very good defense by UCLA, first of all, but Washington digger in the hole, putting that ball up and digging the ball in the middle of the floor.
Strickland, dig. Beal sends it to Scambray. Uno's already attacked twice. Haley Lawless rotates in up front. It's Anderson, Frager, and Lawless up front for the Bruins as Muno serving. A serve for Muno.
She is the player right now that will be setting for UCLA. She has been in and out of this lineup. You get pretty good service from her. She's just a freshman learning the Pac-12 level. She's been thrown in some situations that have been very competitive.
Strickland reaches up, pops it, and turns that into an attackable ball. That's all credit Cassie Strickland. That one looked like it was going out. Now Tia Scambray back to serve. Schwan, dug by Bushler. Beal sets July. And it's good.
Puts it in that far corner. I got to tell you, Riley Bushler right now for UCLA looks really good defensively, but that was a very good offensive play and read nicely. Destiny's numbers have been so spectacular and been very consistent, but interesting. She didn't play the other night against USC.
July again, crushes it. Gonna try to make sure that Keegan Cook gets her in every match by making her presence known.
Well, moments to go. The execution on this, look at Beals put up that ball, and then that deep corner there is open.
You know, Destiny July got her first real playing time this season in that match against UCLA in Westwood when Schwan went down. She had a few matches when Schwan was out where she really got to hone her skills.
Yeah, you know, that's a really good point. I'll just add one thing to that. The first 5 or 6 Pac-12 matches, she was outstanding. Keegan Cook says now she's starting to get some respect from her opponents, and she's also figuring out some things. So ignorance isn't bliss for her anymore. She's got a few more challenges, but she is resilient, according to Keegan Cook.
Yeah, and opportunistic in the very best way. Schwan's down, July's in. Then DeHoog's down, July's in, and she keeps powering away.
Well, and you know, they're going to continue to go to her. She's hot. And how about the setters for Washington recognizing, in this case, Katie Beal, understanding that I've got to continue to push the ball out to her, feeding her a nice hittable ball.
You know, the first time they played USC, Washington, July had 15 kills, so it really says something about their depth that she didn't get in the other day. Frager back to serve. Felix up front alongside Bushler and Lawless. Lawless and Frager trying to stop Schwan. Or Lawless and Felix.
Yes, so good at recognizing the block and being able to hit around that block, over the block, sometimes going high hands. These are all things that in the offseason this Washington team worked on. Looked like she actually went through the block that time, splitting it a bit high. Passing and serve receive by Bushler again.
And the attack from her as well.
You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that Riley Bushler had, against Arizona a few weeks back, 0 hitting errors. And after leading a team to wins over Arizona and ASU, she garnered Player of the Week by ESPNW. Pretty high accolades for playing well.
Changes her pace and gets a kill.
Nice little roll shot there in the recognition.
Schwan spent last season behind Van Zant and Scambray much of the year. This year she has really broken out. Tough one.
Had to backpedal a bit to try to get to the net on that one. Came off Bushler's forearm just a bit awkward. Ran away a little bit on her as you take a look at Michael Seeley, who is absolutely enjoying this season in the 8 consecutive wins.
And a great use of the block by Claire Felix.
Oh, uses the outside, that left hand of Tia Scambray. Good recognition.
Another ace. Tammy, some balls dropping that you don't usually see drop on Washington's side.
Yeah, good. That ball, you know, floating and cutting and maybe just positionally. Need to adjust there in the back.
In the seam between Strickland and Scambray. Beautiful play by Scambray off the hands. And so as a timeout now, and UCLA and Washington within 3. Cassie Strickland unloads every time she's from the back line. It's a go big or go home kind of match.
small window of time.
Today's Pac-12 women's volleyball is presented by Kyra. We've got the ball, you bring the game. Welcome back. Set one underway. A 3-point lead for Washington in this top 12 matchups. Pac-12 volleyball presented by Kyra, and here's Cassie Strickland at the back line. Heavy ball handled by Formico.
Beautiful serve, tough, aggressive, that top spin making that ball break, but a very nice job by Taylor Formico of UCLA to handle it. Washington able to put the point away.
Strickland loves this. Anderson, tip. Wade. Ball is chased down. Great effort by Formico.
Great effort here, Formico. You can't say enough about the smalls for UCLA, especially Taylor Formico. One of the best on the team in digs per set.
Saying, can I get a little help, please? 6'4", Melanie Wade up against her. And Michael Sealy going to call a timeout before Cassie Strickland takes her fourth serve.
Yeah, I think this is what you have to do. You've got to just try to stop the momentum. And UCLA has been in a couple situations like this. I remember going back at the beginning of the year, and Michael Sealy called a couple timeouts strategically when they were at Cal. And all he did was tell his team in the huddle, which he's likely to do right now, hey, let's try to take the momentum away from them. Let's try to settle in. We've got this. You're okay. It's a little bit of a confidence talk with this team.
Well, the last time these two teams met, it was October 2nd in LA. And the first set was a huge battle. Extra points. Washington won it 31-29. And it was the blocking of the Huskies. They outblocked UCLA 17-8 in the match. Washington swept them in 3 sets.
And no doubt, Anne-Marie, in that match that the setters and the hitters were not in sync, hence good blocking by Washington. They weren't running clean routes, not throwing up a good ball. In the series history for these two teams, the Bruins will lead 42-24, complete dominance there. However, the note underneath is of significance. Huskies have won the last 5.
You know what else was incredible about that match, Tammy, thinking back to it, was that Washington had 17 blocks in 3 sets. That's the most by a Pac-12 team in a 3-set match. Meanwhile, Cassie Strickland, fourth serve. We always say that taking a timeout there is like icing the kicker in football.
That's right.
We'll see how
is there any
responds.
possibility you could ever ice a player like this, though, in Cassie Strickland?
She does get hotter the more she serves consecutively, much like Samantha Bricio. We'll see. Nope, she's still hot. Outside, Anderson. Not over, and Cassie Strickland returns to the back line.
We just showed you the highlights for Washington down in UCLA in that Los Angeles area, and it was a tough hitting night for UCLA as well. Washington oftentimes threw up 2 blockers against Riley Buechler, against some of these other players, and so they were seeing some things that they hadn't seen.
And when you talk about a tough hitting night for UCLA, so far tonight, to be fair, UCLA also a tough hitting night. They're hitting 0 because they have as many errors as kills. So far. 4 points served under Cassie Strickland. Formico to the back line, goes after Scambray. Beautiful dig by Buechler. And Jessica Namo comes in and makes a difference.
She's been taking a lot of swings. She has been a major contributor for this team. I know that she and Jordan Anderson have at times in practice taken some rest because they take a lot of swings, but she's a great player.
And Michael Sealy calls Namo a super sub. And here she'll get another swing. Just wide, and Michael Sealy is going to talk about Cassie Strickland, thinking she was maybe under the net.
Oh, sure.
Katie Fields serving.
Beautiful replay from our Pac-12 crew. Beal serves outside. Namo left hand. And a double contact called on Muno. Muno's front court right now. Frager joins her, begging for it. Muno makes it work, but Washington there to pick it up. Ball's wrong, an opportunity now for the Bruins.
Well, that was just a great read. I love that Muno she's not backing down from the blockers at the net. She saw something. Washington cleaned it up pretty nicely defensively to keep it alive, but UCLA siding out on that.
Muno very quick out of Hermosa Beach, California. There's a tough serve there. Formico sets. Namo puts it away.
Great bump set there by Formico, who played that second ball as Washington is trying to take Muno out every chance they can. But how about the consistency coming from Namo?
Scambray sends it long. Couple of errors from Washington, and UCLA making some great digs. Climbing right back in it. The crowd at Alaska Airlines Arena trying to make some noise. Namo, Formico, and Bushler back to receive. Free ball. Formico sets on the money, and Namo having a day.
Doing a good job against that swing block of Washington. They were there, the timing was good, they just could not close out. And a nice job by Namo to read this. Here's the swing block by both of Washington's players. That's Courtney Schwann on the outside, and Namo goes off that left hand. Very well done.
Namo across the front was very effective. 3 kills in her trip across the front row. And a great use by Bushler. Keegan Cook going to take a timeout and talk to his team. Their big lead has been checked. Let's take a look around the conference. And of course, the big news was Friday's win by Washington, handing USC their first loss of the season.
Yeah, and how about number 2, Texas defeated by Texas Tech. Mick Haley of USC talked to us earlier this week and said, I'm nervous about going to Washington, period, because now they have to go over and face Washington State today. Pac-12 Conference announces the All-Century team. The player of the century, Logan Tom of Stanford. An upcoming game of the week, Colorado at number 8 UCLA. Of course, we're seeing this UCLA team. The Wednesday night match at 7:30 on the Pac-12 Network.
Meanwhile, in this match, Tammy, we came in talking about the middles, and so far, for both teams, they haven't materialized in the big numerical way that we've seen.
Yeah, Claire Felix at State, for example, she's hitting .250. Now, she's got 1 error and 4 swings, and a couple of the other ones, Liana Sibelden, I mean, she's not been there at all. 1 attempt, no kills, but you're seeing a lot, I think, good things from the pins, and I think this super sub, as Michael Seeley will call it, for Namo for UCLA, I mean, she's been a changer, and Michael Seeley is a guy that he'll run some people in based on the momentum and what the defense is doing, and I think she's been a great contribution to this match.
Yeah, it's been a more pin-dominant match than we're used to seeing from both of these teams, and of course that's largely usually the result of the passing for Namo. Good for her, making a real impact across the front court. She's out right now, though. Yes.
Yeah, and I just think it's great because she's a player that, due to injury, she used a redshirt year last year, and this year she's appeared in 6-7 matches, and when she gets in, she makes the most of it.
Well, speaking of making the most of it, off of a service error, Melanie Wade now serving for the set for Washington, an opportunity for the Huskies. handed back. And I think both of these coaches, Tammy, will look back on set one and say, that isn't the way we wanted to play. Both teams.
Melanie Wade, I can tell you, she doesn't like it. She's a competitor, always wants to do things the right way.
Strickland passes to the net. Sebeldon gets only her second attempt of the game, as she hasn't been getting the ball as much as she usually does. Schwann puts it away, and set one in the books.
Big swing, heavy ball by Courtney Schwann, a player that Keegan Cook says has the most potential on our team. And I think you're seeing a team that is confident that Schwann is healthy and back, getting her involved in the rotation.
Set one goes to Washington. This particular set, more pin dominant, where the middles get active for both teams in set number two. We'll find out after the break.
I'm really into this car, but how do I know if I'm getting a good deal?
The protein-packed way to feed your wild side.
Welcome back to Seattle. Pac-12 volleyball presented by Tashi Kara. Another top 10 matchup on the network. 8th-ranked UCLA and 5th-ranked Washington. Set one went to Washington. Washington on a 26-match home winning streak in Pac-12 play. Took set one.
They don't like to lose here on their home floor, and this is a crowd, and 5,000 the other night on Friday night to see them face USC, the #1 team in the nation, unbeaten. But unbeaten no more when the Huskies took care of them Friday night, and the crowd was electric, standing up. And
we talked about the impact that Jessica Namo had in set number one coming in halfway through. Well, she's been rewarded by Michael Seeley saying, hey, you know what? Start in set number two.
Why not? I mean, that's a perfect decision. She's hitting .333, 6 total swings, 3 kills, only 1 error. Bradley Bushler, too. Tip of the hat to her. She's hitting .667. She's error-free so far in that first set. We'll see what she can do in the second set.
Meanwhile, we'll see if Washington is able to get the ball to Leona Sebeldon. She is lethal when they do. And, of course, that's who they set first one.
And again, you have to go back to Tia Scambray. She's right there in the middle of that back row. A perfect pass to Katie Bills. When you give a good pass to Katie Bills, or even a less than good pass, she's going to better a ball. She makes that ball so hittable for Sebeldon.
Yeah, and Sebeldon hitting .488 in this season is just incredible numbers. What a dig from Scambray. Namo able to use the block.
Well, you see Schwann on that block on the outside. There was a big seam in that block, but she's able to use it, and that ball falls out on the side of UCLA Point Bruins.
On the money. Yeah, that's the way Sebeldon likes it.
I mean, you know that they talked about it at break. They want to get her the ball more. They had to. She was not present in that first set, only took 2 swings, didn't have any kills, no errors obviously, but was hitting 0. Now all of a sudden she's come alive, and look at the bounce the Huskies have.
Yeah, and it's all from the passing. I mean, she was there, she was up, but the passing wasn't affording it to her. So they took 2 swings in all of the first set. She only got set twice. She's already had that in the second set. Lawless, big swing. Strickland dig. The block, wow, waiting for it. Frager.
Well, that's what we've come to grow and love about Jenny Frager and Claire Felix as well. We showed you the numbers in the opening. We tipped their cap to the middle blockers. They've been pretty good as you take a look at the net view. And there was Haley Lawless on the outside, but closing that out. Good penetration by Frager.
When you have Sebeldon and a weapon like that, you got to use her, and they are.
Yeah, tough set there, too, by UCLA Bruins. And you know, just really struggling to get the ball back and make anything hittable for the hitters. And that's when they're out of sync. And at times when the season has found that with Muno, he's been able to pull her out and kind of put Ryan Chandler in. Ryan Chandler not on the road with them, so.
Lawless takes a swing and gets it in. Inoue subs in to serve for UCLA. Schwann passes. Wade in the middle takes a good swing.
And a good set from Tanner, Bailey Tanner, redshirt sophomore.
Tanner sets Jones. Back to Jones with a kill.
Well, the other night against USC, Tanner was reading and Jones feeding nicely, and Jones just is a spark plug, and they continue to go to her. So now you've got July, you've got Jones, a lot of times on that right side, providing balance and making UCLA have to work across the net.
Inoue grabs that. Nice play by Muno. Beals goes to the middle, and Washington making an effort to really feed their middle now. Scambray has to come all the way in. Tough angle, and Felix waiting for it.
They needed that one. UCLA needed that one big time, and they saw Scambray. She was way off the net. She had to come in, as you mentioned, and that ball fell right in the hands. Good penetration there by Claire Felix, being solid and recognized that she could get to that one.
Scambray passes, says, "Speed me." And Namo's getting stronger with every swing.
She is, and Muno had an opportunity there to actually hit Felix on the slide away from the setter, but she went back to Namo, and I don't know, do you go to Felix, you let her run the slide? Namo's got a pretty hot hand, maybe she's thinking, let's give her a swing.
Service error tied up at 6 apiece in set number 2 inside Alaska Airlines Arena. Tough weekend for Washington. 2 top 10 matchups. Number 1 USC and then number 8 UCLA. Huskies 5th in the nation. Scambray from the backcourt. Inoue handles it. And the attack back from Bushler.
We've talked about the setting situation and Ryan Chandler not on the road and them using Zana Muno. And this is a player, Riley Bushler, who's been outspoken, if you will, and said, we rely on either setter. We can go with either one, and we have confidence in both.
So important, and neither setter has a wealth of experience at that position. Ryan Chandler came from Pepperdine, took a year off. She was a defensive specialist there. Muno, you've mentioned, is a freshman. Really says something about how talented they both are, that those two have split duties, and this team is 8th in the nation under their tutelage.
And they're both different. Muno self-admits that she's more athletic and relies on the athletic ability, whereas Chandler has great location, a little bit more experience, and puts up a maybe more hittable ball in a window for a hitter that likes it. But Muno's going to grow. I mean, she's a freshman. She's seen a lot. She's got chances.
Schwann gets the opportunity.
There have been 7 different players on this Husky squad to lead the team in kills. She leads that, Courtney Schwann does, with 11.
Yeah, right now, Schwann and July in this match, each with 5 kills for the Huskies. Angle for Frager. And that one too.
Just about a foot beyond that 3-meter line. Good placement there, sharp angle there. She adjusted. I like how they go back to her and they give her that second swing. Cassie Strickland too far back as she sits. Watch this shot. Tough angle right in front of Strickland.
Carly Drolson serving. One of the great defenders in the Pac-12 conference. Formica, beautiful hands back to Bushler. The block of Washington shutting down the net. The middle begging for it. They go back outside. collision. Everybody's safe on Washington's side as the communication wasn't there. Long rally.
And UCLA earned that point, but they needed to score so many out-of-system opportunities at Washington. Did they not?
They didn't. No, it ended up being a Washington point. I agree. I know why, Tammy, you're saying that because it looked like a touch from this side, the angle, but it wasn't. But I'm right with you. I understand why you said that. From this angle, that's what it was. Scambray lays it down.
I'll tell you, and that is momentum that Washington is picking up now. Getting that point, now they've just rallied off 2. It's normal in volleyball to hit off 3 or 4 points, but you've got to stop it at some point. UCLA needs to side out.
Formico, that's what she does. Cuts you off, says you worry about hitting, and Bushler does.
She just reads that. She says, Riley, go ahead and get in your path to your approach so that you can take a nice swing. And you know Bushler just recognized that and says, yeah, thanks for calling me off and stepping in front.
Yeah, Michael Seeley's talked about that. I mean, Formico owns that court when she's on it. She'll step in front of anybody and pass it. That's her role. She takes it seriously. An ace from Frager.
Au contraire, in the back row, Cassie Strickland and Scambray, they can't quite communicate enough. And Cassie Strickland might have been the player to step in front of Scambray, but she didn't.
Seems to be the seam that UCLA is going for. There, Scambray puts that one up nicely. And Sebelden's going to put it down. If you give it to Sebelden, she's going to put it away.
Sebelden hitting air free at this point. No wonder when you get a great pass and get a great set like that.
Yeah, back to Sebelden. I mean, she's on track to challenge for the best hitting percentage in Pac-12 history. Feluca Akamadua from Stanford holds that record at .499. Sebelden comes into this match at .488.
When they were on the road at Stanford and Cal, Sebelden hit .730 on the weekend. She's hitting .571 right now.
Outside. Tough one, Chrissy Jones waiting for it. As Katie Beals comes in to serve, Destiny July comes in up front for Washington. Namo comes in up front again for UCLA. UCLA hitting .318 in this set, a big improvement from set number 1. Namo stays behind it. Felix loves off one leg.
Oh, nice job in execution, and she's going to get the touch there, went off the hands. UCLA rallying off a couple points.
Yeah, Felix loves that slide. She's very successful back there if they can get it to her more frequently. July with a kill.
Now, the thing is, every time that UCLA gets it back or they side out, Washington takes the momentum right back. That is something that Keegan Cook really likes about his team, is that they've increased their side out percentage.
Felix asking for it behind. They go out to Namo. Melanie Wade and Destiny July, a big block.
She is wearing those goggles, Melanie Wade, as she took a ball right to the face and it injured her eye. Took that ball, a very hard hit ball in practice. And she wears the goggles in the match. And interestingly enough, I saw her out to dinner on Friday night after the USC match. We were inside a very well-lit restaurant, and she had sunglasses on. That's the damage that's been done.
A tough player, Melanie Wade, and the Huskies in a tough match. They trail by 1.
Esurance was born online and built.
Welcome back. UCLA leading Washington by 1, and Jessica Namo, the super sub, according to Michael Seeley, contributing mightily.
Good job there by Muno to go to her, and we've noticed that she's had some other players that she could set, but she wants to continue to go to Namo. You see the highlight package here, Namo backing up, hitting her touch point, getting her approach right on, and using that block.
Outside, Schwann. Monaco. Block waiting for Namo. Schwann changes her pace again. Same will be seen. Muno, athletic, gets that over. July gets it right back at her, and that was a Namo block.
There's a lot of players that can be credited for UCLA in that sequence. Riley Bushler, one of them. Muno, another one. Very good effort. Big swing by July on the outside. Going nowhere. UCLA's block also spot on.
Jessica Namo came into this match having 5 kills this season. 5 kills. She's got 6 kills in this match. Just a little bit long from Destiny July.
Washington is hanging on. I mean, this is a close match, but UCLA continuing to reel off some points and now have established a 3-point lead against the Huskies. This is crucial time right here for them to maintain the serve.
Well, that was a great serve to that deep corner. Took the middle out of the action for Washington, but they're outside, got the kill. Melanie Wade back to serve. Liana Sebeldon up front. Sebeldon still perfect, 4 kills, no errors. And the middle, Frager gets a swing. Sebeldon and Tanner.
But Tanner's responsible on that outside for making sure it's set. And look at the swing block here. Just a very narrow seam, but Namo hits it right there. Good hands by Taylor, good hands by Sebeldon.
Kinkondi back to serve. Or sorry, that isn't Kinkondi. It is. It is, you're right. Namo puts it away.
It's the 19th swing for Namo. 6 kills, 3 errors.
Yeah, she had 15 swings total coming in to this match. So, I mean, to tell you the contribution she's being asked to make tonight. Meanwhile, middle taken out of the option again from a tough serve. Keegan Cook taking a timeout, talking to his Huskies team. A 3-point lead for UCLA. If you're enjoying this match, we know you're going to enjoy even more women's volleyball this week. We have another great one for you on Wednesday, the match of the week. Same 8th-ranked UCLA team goes home, and they're going to host the Colorado Buffaloes. That's the women's volleyball match of the week. Wednesday at 7:30 on Pac-12 Network, or watch on Pac-12 Now and pac-12.com. Colorado beat Arizona last week, and they can give you fits. Washington and UCLA tied up for second right now.
UCLA would love to go 10-2 and get out of here with a nice sweep of the weekend. And then we just touted that matchup at home for UCLA against Colorado the last time those two teams met. On the road, UCLA was a sweep at CU.
Yeah, they were so good.
Very good.
That was the point where they really started to turn. The best passing match perhaps up to that point. Their only losses were to USC this season in conference is USC and Washington.
9-2 in conference play. Looking to go 10-2. Those losses to USC and Washington. In fact, the Washington match down at Los Angeles, the last time this UCLA team has lost. Meanwhile, Washington boasts the same record, 9-2, and their losses to USC and Stanford. But they avenged that loss to USC in early October by coming out on Friday night and playing some of the best volleyball and beating the #1 team in America.
Yeah, and Stanford, meanwhile, looking so good, too. I mean, they lost Akinradaro at the beginning of the season, but they brought in Haley Hodson, who's a very strong contender for Freshman of the Year in conference play. Sebelden extends her reach to keep that one. Schwan, so good down the line.
Haley Lawless was there, but Schwan took that line shot. I think she read that they were trying to cut off the angle here. There's Lawless, and then when she does see it, she just gets it right by Lawless's right hand.
Pivotal moment for UCLA, up by 2, down 1 set. All the work's having to be done from the outside right now. Bang goes Sebelden. She's ridiculous. And that's a compliment.
Well, you know, she's so good on the court. The other night she came out and she was in street clothes ready to go celebrate that win against USC, taking pictures with all the young ones who were here. You talk about a role model in so many ways. Jenny Frager comes back with something out of the middle for UCLA. UCLA trying to hang on mightily to what is now a 2-point lead.
Yeah, Frager and Felix hitting very well. Each one hitting 400. They're just not getting the volume of sets they've gotten in the past because Washington's serving so tough.
They got set 32 times combined at Washington State Friday night.
Yeah, they did. And I think they had 21 kills combined against Arizona State the other 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
So when you feed them, they deliver. Meanwhile, Sebelden just going to work again. Friday, look at that, 5 kills, 5 blocks. She loves this up there. Scambray, off hands. It's good. Formico, left hand. Drolson tries to keep it alive. Point Washington, and it's a big one. Tied up 20.
Not surprising here that Michael Seeley is going to call a timeout. I think this is a good timing, again, trying to take the momentum away. They understand that they are on the home floor of the Huskies. A reminder, 26-game Pac-12 home winning streak for the Huskies. Michael Seeley knows he has got to get set number 2.
The big difference in this set, by the way, Sebelden received only 2 sets in set number 1, no kills. And then this set, she's gone off.
I think really you have to credit, and she'll be the first to turn around and credit the passing, but she is getting set so well from both setters. Katie Beals understanding where her window is, and Bailey Tanner knows where the window is, and they just make it look so easy. I think Bailey Tanner has come in and been incredibly impressive. And for Katie Beals, you've come to expect that, the veteran player who's coming back from an ACL injury. She is as good as she is. And speaking as good as she is, Liana Sebelden. Second set, 6 kills, attacks 9. What a shift from set number 1.
Well, UCLA had a 3-point lead in this set. And Tammy, what do they need to do right now? Because they certainly want to go into the break at 1 set apiece.
Well, you know, I think, too, they have to be able to decide out when they really need it. I mean, this is Sebelden, obviously they want to try to block her. Very difficult to do, but, you know, do you take Sebelden out of the game, or do you try to take away some of the other players? It's too difficult. Washington is very well balanced, and you see Sebelden still in. Chrissy Jones, who's been performing well on the outside. I think they just can't give any points to Washington, and they have to focus on them and not overthink Washington.
It'd be nice if they could feed their middles as well, Frager and Felix. Begs for it back, Frager does, but the block waiting on the outside. Well played by Muno. Off hands and a point for UCLA. Claire Felix back in up front. Frager serving.
Here's your opportunity to get Felix the ball if you can.
Perfect pass. That's right. They're going to go to Sebelden.
Known for their passing, known for their blocking, they take a lot of pride in serve reception. Their serve reception right there that allows Bailey Tanner to go up, and you see the heavy ball and the big swing by Sebelden.
That's the time for Cassie Strickland to take a good swing, too.
Inoue will come in, and she will take the ball and serve.
Important ace for Inoue.
This floater, that ball sort of ran off from that back row, went from middle to the left back zone, and you could see the defense back there. Schwann had a hard time really reading it. Good serve by Inoue.
Huge moment for UCLA. They're up by 1. Another perfect pass. Wade up there. Littles get it up. Look at Strickland's timing.
They hit Sebelden, they hit Sebelden, they hit Sebelden.
And then
they go to Wade. She misses on the first one. Great defense, by the way, for UCLA, but then they go back to her with another good pass, and she's able to put it away the second time.
I love the way that Cassie Strickland passes that ball. Just the timing slows everything down. Says you got plenty of time. Felix. Ball is sent long, but there's a touch. And Michael Seeley going to take a timeout.
Touch off the hands of Felix. I think it was the left hand of Felix.
What a match. We told you it was going to be battling back and forth and coming up during the second set intermission. We're going to join Kate Rooney in the Pac-12 Network studios. Take you through an update on Oregon State and Utah, Oregon, Colorado, and a sports report update. Kate Rooney in our Pac-12 Network studios. And then, of course, when you come back here, Tammy, we're going to talk about this match because sets 1 and 2 have been very different from each other.
Well, Washington really ran away and I think kind of took advantage of a couple things over UCLA in set number 1. But UCLA has been very, very good. I think obviously they'd like to get some more accurate sets out of Muno, but a freshman on the road, just, struggling with the rhythm, the cadence, and they don't have Ryan Chandler. A couple of other things, though, to point out is that Washington is passing well and getting those middle sets, and they're taking advantage of it, especially here in set 2.
Sebelden is just a freight train. She's had 7 kills on 9 swings in this set alone. And you can just feel it. The other thing that Washington's doing, of course, Tammy, is whenever there's an opportunity to set the middle, they do it. They never miss an opportunity to set the middle.
And yet you see how well Sebelden is hitting. She's hitting .636. She's hitting, she's air free, 11 total swings, 7. But UCLA is right in this set number 2. Granted, it's set point, but they're right there, 23 points.
Yeah, they certainly are, and their middle's strong as well. Felix up front, Bushler, so Muno's got options. Bushler. Outside. Bushler tags it.
That's a big swing, an important swing. Riley Bushler, somebody that this team can go to when they need it. Was saying earlier this week that they need to be able to come out and play hard. No matter who their opponent is, we've got to stay focused and focus on us. And focus, it looks like she is.
Tied up 24 apiece, UCLA with Bushler serving, so key. Huge dig from Formico. There goes the Littles going to work, and that's what UCLA does. Feeding Felix. Nama's going to change her shot, and she does.
Schwann, good coverage. She thought Muno would try to.
Oh my!
Wow, big play by Muno. The hustle play in that rally.
Every setter loves that.
Look at that effort there by Muno. Again, putting that ball down, and Katie Bills can't get there quick enough.
Big by Muno, and then she's kind of holding that right shoulder. scares you a little bit. She doesn't get a lot of swings. Ball is long. And for UCLA, a huge couple of points to win the second set.
I mean, that's resilient. And I told you they were right there at 23. Washington had set point for set number 2 at 24. But UCLA unleashes 3 consecutive points in battling, and that's the resiliency that we've seen from UCLA since their last loss at home versus this team in Washington.
UCLA comes back and takes set number 2. The teams will go into the break tied at 1 set apiece. Michael Seeley joining us now, and Michael, a big comeback there, fighting off set point. How can you get your middles more involved for set number 3?
I have no idea. I got 8 minutes to figure it out. I think we're passing well enough. It's just getting Zana comfortable with working with them, but we'll try to get them going.
Certainly the women, I think, Michael, you called some very strategic timeouts, and you guys were down 24-23. You rallied off 3 consecutive points to win that one. How big was that momentum takeaway?
It's one at a time. Anytime you can steal a set, match resets now at 0-0 and a best of 3. So just got to reset and go.
Thanks so much, Coach, for joining us.
You got it.
So, best of 3. Let's play 2 out of 3 like the old school way. A top 10 matchup on Pac-12 Networks. Reminder, Kate Rooney waiting for you in Pac-12 Network studios after the break. And then we'll talk about set 3 when you come back and visit us here in Seattle. Welcome back to Pac-12 Volleyball presented by Kyra. Split at 1 set apiece in this top 10 matchup between UCLA and Washington. Washington took set number 1, but set number 2 was huge for the Bruins, Tammy.
Well, it was. It was a big takeaway because Washington got out to a 1-0 lead in terms of winning that first set. Remember, they're on their home floor, and they will not lose, at least in 26 games. Muno did a nice job of coming back. You heard Michael Seeley tell us that he felt like Muno just needed to get a little bit more comfortable with rhythm and sort of the cadence, but I thought the defense for UCLA, Riley Bushler, made some big plays. As you take a look at the numbers, the hitting percentage has been huge. The difference, 241 to UCLA's 145. 5 blocks for Washington, but 4 good ones for UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA hit 208 in set number 2, and we asked Keegan Cook moments ago what he told his team during the break.
Just asking them, if that was the peak of our season on Friday, or if we have more to do. Kind of challenge them a little bit, and like to see us pass a little better and do a better job of sealing the line out of system. And so I challenged our team pretty strongly.
Now, speaking of passing, and when you're able to pass, boy, it's really nice to see Sebelden be able to get the swings because she can terminate. She's been so consistent, and will she be your go-to in the third set?
Yeah, I think she'll always be a first option for us, throughout the season. And if we get the matchups we like, we should see her a bunch in this set.
Thanks so much, Coach, for joining us.
Thank you.
And Tammy, when you ask about Sebelden, yeah, that's right. Second set, she hit 778, 7 kills on 9 swings.
Air free.
That's what you call a first option.
Yeah, air free too.
Here's set number 3. Michael Seeley telling us, look, we're kind of tied up at 0-0 at this point. Old school, best 2 out of 3. Schwan with the first kill. Tia Scambray serving. Namo got the start again for UCLA and an ace for Scambray. Just 2 passers back for UCLA right now, Formico and Bushler. Lays it up. But a net violation. No, a backcourt. No, net violation. I'll change my mind again. Waiting for the officials. They go after Namo as soon as UCLA puts her back to pass with 3.
Well, you have to really appreciate Scambray, who last year, only she and Krista Van Sant, who graduated, went through 6 rotations. This year, she continues to be good as a 6th rotation player.
Inside, very tough angle. Lawless uses her left hand.
Wow, Tanner.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Tanner's contribution. Last time these two teams met was the beginning of Tanner seeing more time in the front court. And you saw it Friday night how great she can be.
Well, she was huge. I mean, the right sides were killing it, and she was one of them. Important that you all know that she changes roles from setter to hitter throughout the match.
Yeah, 13 kills versus USC, along with 6 digs and 16 assists. Long rally. Beals to Schwann. Namo goes off the block. Jessica Namo doing a great job using the block.
In comes Drolson. She'll go back to serve, and boy, would they love to get something started here. Washington jumps out to a 4-point lead. I guess Keegan Cook's talked to his team about peaking, has done something.
Yeah, in pretty strong terms is the language he used, he told us anyway.
Done a remarkable job. It's always tough to go through a coaching change. Jim McLaughlin, who left to be the head coach at Notre Dame, and Keegan Cook, who was here as an assistant, stepped in, and he says he's amazed and has so much more respect for what the players go through.
Like drinking through a fire hose. He said, we asked him earlier this week, is this fun? And there was a long pause, and then he said, well, it's fulfilling.
So he didn't answer your question.
Not fun, necessarily.
He also said at one point that I love this match. I love this game so much. However, it's also the hardest thing that I've ever done. But right now, Washington Huskies up by 6 and in crucial set number 3 where they want to get it. We'll be back with more.
Esurance was born online and insurance for the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
Welcome back. Set number 3 underway, and the Huskies out to an early 6-point lead. Tammy, what's gone wrong for UCLA so far?
I think Washington had good energy coming out. Their tempo was really very good, but you saw the service error there by Drolson, and Washington's going to take advantage. When you have unforced errors and you let them take advantage of that, they're going to roll.
Meanwhile, some great passers back for UCLA right now. They've got 3 across and 3 of the best passers in the league, Drolson, Formico, and Bushler. And it's on the money. As expected, they choose to go back rather than the middle. Drolson, another awesome dig, and back again. Free ball and a miscommunication.
But Melanie Wade stuck her hand up to at least give them a chance and try to keep the ball alive. There's that play there where she reaches high. Beals goes down, but nothing.
Service error for UCLA. Felix and Lawless up front for UCLA. Meanwhile, Sebeldon up front for Washington. What a dig! Strickland makes it look so smooth, and as a result, Sebeldon kill.
One-on-one there for Sebeldon going against Claire Felix, who had to stay, and obviously respect that, because when they can set the middle, they will. So, and you have to be so good in this conference going up one-on-one with the block.
Kyra Rogers joins UCLA up front. First time she's seen action in this match.
She's definitely a rookie, the freshman from Des Moines, Iowa. There she is.
Felix patrolling the net. Tanner goes back to Jones and gets the back line.
Well, you see that Felix couldn't come over and join Riley Bushler in the block because of the options that were available to Washington. So Washington's able to go up. That's one-on-run right there. And Jones wins that battle against Bushler.
They serve Rogers, and it's a free ball. It's good, though. Tanner turns right around to set Sebeldon. Kyra Rogers getting up there. The freshman goes, there's Liana Sebelden.
Well, and Sebelden was calling for that ball. I mean, she definitely wanted that set. She was quick in transition to go back and touch her touch point, to get ready, called for it. She got it, just couldn't get it, and the net helped a bit.
Outside, Bushler. It's up. Drolson with a pancake. The up official says it's in, while the line judge originally called it out.
Well, you heard the size here in Alaska Airlines Arena. Flag went up, ball went down. The up official says that's a point, Huskies.
Perfect pass, pace from Drolson. But the block waiting. Jones and Sebelden saying, not here.
Sebelden joins Jones on the block. Riley Bushler right into the block. Remember, back in LA, Bushler saw 2 blockers throughout the match.
On the money passing. That's what Felix likes.
Felix, nicely done. She has called for that a couple of times in this match. They have not gone to her. Muno chooses to go to her. Now, Felix is going to say, if you get this opportunity again, go ahead and give me that chance. And you see that when she terminates, and they probably need to feed her more.
And it's hard. I mean, to be fair, Michael Seeley even said it during the break, it's a matter of getting Muno confident with doing that. But to have her come in and have to set that ball in this match, it's tough. There's not a lot of room for error. Beautiful by Muno. Scambray shut down. Felix is fired up.
Well, you like the excitement that Felix brings to the court. UCLA trying to grind this one out, down by 8. A big uphill battle in Washington, went up 7-1 early on.
Another touch from Muno there, not high enough to be played. 9-point lead for the Huskies.
Here's a dangerous opportunity here for UCLA with the opportunity of Strickland going back to serve. Can she rip off 2 or 3 points? That would really give the Huskies a comfortable lead.
There's that automatic timeout at 15.
There's something about the way that Strickland makes contact with the ball and then the way that her team feeds off of that serve. You can definitely feel it. You can definitely see it. It's almost like her teammates don't want to disappoint her.
That's right, there isn't that automatic timeout now. I'm thinking about it because the timeout was taken at 7-1. Outside. Long. And that'll get Strickland off the back line. Frager back up front with Namo and Muno. Enoy controls it. It's good.
Nice hit. Again, Namo delivering. We have not talked about Jordan Anderson in this match. It's been all very good job by Namoy.
That's right, Anderson hasn't played.
Namo, pardon me.
Right, in the second set, there was no Anderson at all.
It's all about Jessica Namo delivering UCLA. Taylor Formico again, ripping off a couple of points.
Tanner goes back to Jones. Handles it with her hands, love it.
Tough shot, Destiny July finding just at that backside there. Does that ball go out? Does it go in? Not sure. Pretty close. Gotta play it if you're not sure.
Perfect pass. Enoy again. July goes for the line again and off the hands.
Well, realizes that Muno is there right on that right-hand side. She's the setter who's rotating through that front row, and so no surprise that she just goes right around the outside hand of Muno and tries to put that ball down on that line. Nicely executed.
Huskies with a large lead in this set, and they have just been playing very clean ball.
Hitting percentage has been up, and let's take you through some of the highlights. Tia Scambray here in the third set. Aggressive serve, ball handling errors. Tanner on the opposite side. The right sides were killing it against USC on Friday night. And then Destiny July, who sends that shot all the way to the back, making it tough for the defense to have to make a decision. Things clicking in all cylinders. Again, I'll go back to that conversation Keegan Cook had with the team in the locker room about, hey, is that the best we were going to be on Friday night against USC, beating the #1 team in the nation? I think his team is responding. That's a very, very good sign.
Yeah, and when you take a look at the stretch that Washington's in the middle of, they had top-ranked USC the other day, and then five ranked opponents in a row, including tonight. Arizona State, Arizona, and Stanford are 3, 4, and 5 in that stretch.
The next 4 games, very, very difficult. Versus Stanford, versus California.
And then meanwhile, for UCLA, they get to go home for a while. Host Colorado, Utah, Oregon, Oregon State. Then the end of their season is going to be really brutal. They have, of course, USC again, but they're also going to have Stanford to finish out the season. And their last 4 matches, as a matter of fact, UCLA's of the season, are against ranked opponents.
We hear it all the time. It says it doesn't get any easier, and Michael Seeley realizes, and I agree with him, he says he doesn't believe in taking momentum from one weekend into the other, and I totally agree, because I don't think you get momentum out of one week into the next. Especially not in a Pac-12 Women's Volleyball Conference that is as competitive as this. Get Strickland going over.
And look at UCLA's dilemma. You've got Muno on the outside. Some teams will move their setter to the middle to block, but you can't do that because you've got Sebeldon and Wade in the middle. Frager makes a nice work of it.
Like that decision by Muno to get that set right there. And here it is. It's just a nice soft touch, a beautifully set ball there.
Kyra Rogers comes back up front as well. It's up.
Was that Formica with the left foot?
Oh, yeah, it
That was great.
Yes, it was.
I think Leslie Gallimore, the soccer coach here, she'll see that in UCLA. She'll say, hey, I want that kid to transfer to my program. Or Amanda Cromwell will like it, and she'll say, bring her over to soccer next year.
When there's time, right? Great beach player as well. I don't know if Formica could fit it in. Perfect pass.
There it is right there. Formica reaches out. That's what a goalie does when they're minding the net in soccer. They'll reach out and they'll use their hands and their feet as well.
She's so tough, Formica. Back to Tanner. Muno's trying double contact.
Ball handling error there. And again, they're just going to let Muno try to get through this. She needs experience, right? The best way to get it is to try to grind through this.
A lot of admiration for her, freshman.
I like
this
her
ball.
I like her hustle.
Yeah. Oh, she's so quick and athletic. And you know what else is great? Honestly, watching her attitude.
Yeah,
you don't see any of it.
You're right. You just saw her right there get into the huddle. She's vocal. I mean, she knows she may not be setting the best ball every time, right? But she's not putting her head down. She doesn't have chin to chest in any of these situations. She's never giving up on a play. She's committed to both sides, defense and offense.
Well, and they won set 2, so she's knowing it can turn at any moment. When's it going to happen? 10-point lead for Washington. But there's a 4th set guaranteed in this match, and so every good play is momentum building. Perfect pass from Jolson. Tammy, you gotta also wonder, is this the right time for Muno to start trying to set those middles in a set that's this far out of control, see if she can get her timing and take it into the fourth set?
Yeah, really, if it's there, maybe try to throw it up and see if the middles can kind of make something of it. There's just going to be times when it's not going to be an option because of the angle way too far off the net.
The passing of UCLA a little more steady this set. Oh boy, that's a big block from Felix, but Washington covers it well. Felix begging for it. From the back court, Jessica Namo.
Boy, I like that decision by Muno to go out of the back to the player in Jessica Namo, who has continued to contribute. Michael Seeley knows that he's leaving her in.
She's leading the team in kills in this match. 11 kills for Namo. We call grabbing an opportunity. Meanwhile, Felix fiery in the middle.
Yeah, I think Washington's lost a little bit of their focus here, and UCLA sees that, and UCLA's fired up, and Washington maybe asleep at the wheel right now.
Bushler off the block. Namo picks that up. Chicken wing. Strickland lays it out. What a pass, and they're going for the slide. Namo on the money again. Big point for UCLA. The lead that was 10 now cut to 6.
And that's a big break for Washington. They have got to settle in here and start something. Courtney Schwann will take the ball and step back to serve. It's Belden up front. That's Scambray who can hit.
Outside. Oh, that block is big. Sebelden and Jones.
No surprise there that the Huskies pick up some points with their block defense. You're going to score X amount of points on your kills. You're going to get some from your opponent and some errors, unforced errors at times. And you're going to get some, especially if you're the Huskies, from block defense.
Felix. And it's a free ball. Perfect from Namo. They're going to run it again. Sebelden doing hard work up front. Scambray up hands.
These were important points for the Huskies. We told you Sebelden was up. We told you Scambray was up outside at the pin.
Now the fans are up inside Alaska Airlines Arena. Set point for Washington. Backcourt, Namo. And she stepped on the line, backcourt attack, set 3 goes to Washington. Love the idea.
The Huskies get out to an early comfortable lead, but there's no such thing as a comfortable lead as they allowed UCLA to get right back into it, but they escape with a crucial set 3 win.
Set 4 on the way. How will UCLA adjust? Try to even this up at 2 sets apiece.
I'm really...
Welcome back to Seattle, Washington. The Huskies with a 2-1 lead. They got out to a big jump in set number 3 over UCLA, and Bruins never recovered.
No, there's no leadway anymore for UCLA. They're on the road. They're playing against one of the best teams in the nation. And after 3 sets, you can see why. 44 kills for Washington. They have fewer errors than UCLA. Their hitting percentage, pretty solid at .225, but they're also holding UCLA to .119. Good block numbers and set assists at 43. Courtney Schwann for the Huskies, 10 kills, 10 digs. How about the double-double?
Yeah, it's tough for UCLA as you look at them. We've mentioned that They have just one setter that they're working with. They've worked with Muno sometimes this year, and they've worked with Chandler. She's unable to travel. Right now has not been cleared for travel after getting hit in the head at Oregon. And also Jordan Anderson, worth noting, she's been on the bench ever since set number 1. We know publicly that she has been struggling with an ab strain. Jessica Namo has come in, there's Anderson, and played well. So we don't know if they've got Anderson out because Namo's playing so well
or
injury.
Right.
But some of their firepower is gone as well. So really interesting to see UCLA. Now what we are getting is a look at their depth. Certainly Namo leading the team in kills. Bushler and Namo both at double figure.
Let me give you this quick stat on Jordan Anderson. She's a junior, second in kills in Pac-12 with 4.82 per set. And those are some big numbers that you have to replace when she's not on the floor. Now Namo has been excellent today.
Muno out to Bushler. Jenny Frager, the junior from Rancho Santa Fe, back to serve. And Melanie Wade just contacting the ball so high.
Finding that gap there in that back row, getting it through the defense.
Unanimous team captain, and Keegan Cook saying she kept everybody in line, his words, when Coach Jim McLaughlin left, making sure everybody was checked in, everybody was feeling good about what was coming this year.
The thing that impresses me about Melanie Wade and for the Huskies as she goes back to serve again is she just kind of checks all the boxes on, being a good student athlete, being a good volleyball player, being a leader, doing the right thing, making good decisions. A very good student.
Tim, you're so right. Watching your match against USC the other day, this Washington-USC match, I also noticed when Ogums went down briefly with a stumble and an injury, the Huskies players were starting to celebrate, and Wade looked over, saw Ogums, calmed her team down immediately. Hold on, our opponent is down.
That's a middle player, middle blocker, having respect for another middle, and that's what was going on with Melanie Wade. As Washington is continuing to reel off a couple of important points, they want to jump out, no doubt, to a lead and sustain it and close this match out on Sunday afternoon.
Now, 7-1 lead in set number 3 was unrecoverable for UCLA. Felix behind the setter. Namo, one arm. It's a building. Great body control. All of a sudden, Namo and the Bick out of the back court has become a part of that offense.
Tough to get kills in this match. Both teams good defensively.
Chrissy Jones finds a way. Felix behind. And Sibelda continues to just assassinate from the middle.
That's 10 kills, only 2 errors. Remember, she didn't have a hitting error the first 2 sets. She was error-free. Her numbers continue to climb. She's hitting .381. And Michael Seeley going to take this timeout here. Washington continuing to roll, and Keegan Cook gave him an inspirational speech.
Today's Pac-12 Women's Volleyball is presented by Tashikara. We've got the ball, you bring the game. Welcome back. Set 4 underway in Seattle. A top 10 matchup. Pac-12 volleyball presented by Tashikara. And Tammy, UCLA came back and won set number 2 from behind. What's the missing piece for them so far?
And that was impressive. I mean, remember, they were down. It was set point number 2 for the Huskies, 24-23. They rallied off 3 points, but this is a UCLA team that they'll lean on the arm of Bushler there.
Nice block. Here's Bushler again. Look at the lift from Strickland. She just sets that timing for Sibelda.
Yeah, and so much, when you ask me the question about UCLA, Not so much as it's UCLA. Certainly there's some things that they can do, but it's more what Washington is doing really well, you know, setting the middle. And Sebelden, I mean, Claire Felix is doing the best she can, and one-on-one blocking, you've got to keep honest there. I think Bischler's having a great match, fantastic match. Namo, we know what she's done both defensively and offensively.
UCLA has been on the road as well. 2 weeks on the road. They're going to be able to go home. And they picked up big wins, 3 wins already on this road trip, on these 2 road trips.
Well, I just think UCLA too, you know, they're passing well, but look at the passing. We just saw that in that sequence right there. And Chrissy Jones, it almost made it look easy. Baylor Tanner is able to put up a really good set for her to get a very good swing.
Such a settable dig.
You know, at some point, Michael Seeley will tell you, and I like this about him, is that, you know, he's not worried about beating top-ranked teams. And he says, listen, we got to bring our best to the floor, and if we try to execute and do our best, if the other team wins, then so it be it. You got to live with that. And they're dealing with the situation where in the past he's been able to pull Muno out, their setter, and put Chandler in and change the momentum, find a different rhythm or cadence, and he doesn't have that luxury here today.
No, we've seen a bunch of different players from him. Kyra Rogers, we've seen. Anderson, as we mentioned, has been on the bench. Namo's done an incredible job. It's the 8th ranked team in the nation, and they've got options. Meanwhile, the cadence from Strickland every time.
And look at the swing and the finish. So the cadence from Strickland, and then Tanner, and the rhythm, and the really in sync with Sebelden. A rare miss there, and this one definitely not a miss. And Frager goes up again one-on-one, and Sebelden winning that battle.
As soon as Strickland passes the ball, you can feel it. The gym can feel it. It's going to go to the middle, and it's probably going to be a kill because she has such a beautiful lift.
I mean, she puts up a perfect ball. She's accurate.
Right. It's like the old metronome when you learn to play the piano. As soon as she does it, you can tell. Chrissy Jones, big swing. Big block, Kyra Rogers and Jenny Frager.
There's the rookie, Kyra Rogers again, teaming up with Frager. Rogers at 6 feet, by the way. She was a 4-year middle blocker in high school. Pretty well decorated coming out of high school.
Back to Jones, big dig from Muno. Formico puts it up to Rogers, and Rogers puts it down.
You like that from the rookie on the road, getting production against the 5th ranked team in the nation. And she tries to close this window here.
3-point deficit to Melanie Wade.
Think Tanner's having any fun for Washington?
Yeah.
She's racking up a lot of assists, and her footwork is there.
I think it's fun when you're involved on every play. She's either setting, hitting, or digging, it seems, in every play. Scambray over the shoulders goes down the line. Muno, great dig. Scambray cocks her arm back and lets it fly.
That's that inside, obviously, so she's going to go right on the left side of the block if you're UCLA, and the inside of the hands goes back to that deep far corner. They've been working with her, taking different shots.
Schwann's already got a double-double. Scambray 1 kill away from a double-double. Rogers taking some bigger and bigger swings each time.
Nicely done. The rookie.
Violation against Washington, a point for UCLA.
They'll take them how they can get them. Oh, Rogers comes in the match, and some things change. A little bit of energy there.
UCLA showing great depth today. Wade. Uno got a piece of it. The AVCA top 25 poll is going to look very different this week. USC and Texas, the 1 and 2 teams in the nation, both lost this week. Washington at 5th in the nation. A lot riding on this match. There you get a look at the AVCA poll. You wonder if Russ Rose is saying, yeah, we're doing pretty well. Going to be moving up as well. Stanford also having a great week. Doors closed.
Wow, Melanie Wade, Bailey Tanner partnering up. Melanie Wade giving the red shirt sophomore and Bailey Tanner a little shove, saying, hey, nicely done.
10 blocks for Washington in this match.
Yeah, they pair up, join together, and those forces pretty darn good. Bailey Tanner smiles. There's the shove there by Melanie Wade. You don't think those two are having a lot of fun?
Wow, what great volleyball in this conference week after week. In fact, next Sunday, 19th ranked Arizona will try to upset this 5th ranked Washington team. Coverage begins next Sunday at 11 on Pac-12 Network, or watch on Pac-12 Now and pac-12.com. We mentioned that Washington is in the middle of a 5-game stretch where they're playing a ranked opponent every night.
It's very tough, and Arizona's a very good volleyball club. Head coach Dave Rubio doing a very nice job. They're just on the road playing Stanford and Cal. Stanford handled them the other night, but Panina Snuka, Kalei Mao, always fun to watch those two.
Yeah, and when they played Washington last time here in Washington, it was a 700-plus hitting night for Liana Sibelden, and we talked with Dave Rubio about it afterwards. And it'll be really interesting to see how they defend her next time around.
Isn't it interesting when you talk to coaches about playing Washington, none of them want to talk about Sibelden and how to defend her? Not sure if it's because they know how good she is or they just want to stay away from it because they want to focus more on them. She's a game changer.
She is.
She's on everybody's scouting report, but really it's hard to figure out how to stop her.
You know, it's interesting. I'm thinking back to that Arizona match, and she was cutting back to the 1-6 zone consistently. Talking with Keegan Cook before the match, he said, yeah, she used to hate that shot. We spend so much time on it, and she's so lethal at it. It's incredible that she ever didn't like that. Tanner going for a sharp angle. UCLA will not give up. They're within 5 again. Felix comes up. Every time you start looking at Washington's numbers, you got to look back at UCLA and know that a couple of points together and this set can turn. There you go, Felix in the middle. Drolson, perfect dig. And a kill.
Drolson really the digger in the hole because sometimes you don't always get the help from your block that you want, but Drolson is incredibly reliable, and she didn't get a ton of help there, but she keeps that ball alive.
Yeah, Drolson will put her helmet on and get in front of whoever is hitting. Like that. Here comes Schwann. And it's Drolson again. Outside. UCLA, we just said it, putting a couple of points together.
And thanks to Drolson's good defense, what she's doing is she sees her block, she's watching the outside hitters, and she understands where she needs to be to get in front of them to make sure that that dig is going to be well within reach for her.
She was this team's libero in 2013 and is just as effective as a defensive specialist. Good kill from Schwann.
It's not easy to stay in a rally with University of Washington and sort of rattle off 4 or 5 points. They'll always be able to come back and side out when they need to. That's what makes them so good. Look at that angle that she takes there.
Bushler, Drolson, and Formico back to serve, or back to receive, I should say. Rogers, oh, nice idea, but it just went a little short.
Rogers put up some impressive numbers against number 25 ranked at the time, Oregon.
Liana Sibelden back up front for Washington. Rogers, well done, finds a kill.
I talked about her performance at Oregon. She had 6 kills, added a career-high 4 blocks. A versatile player that Michael Seeley can rely on, and he knows it, so he's given her some good floor time today.
And as Drolson rotates out, Enoy rotates in to serve and dig, but Sebelden, and the speed.
Chrissy Jones back in for the Dodge. Bailey Tanner serving.
Tanner, pick your poison. She's got Jones, Sebelden, and Schwann up front. And Bushler with a touch off the block.
I tell you, the defense for UCLA, if it's not Drolson, it's Enoy. If it's not Enoy, it's Taylor Formico.
Yeah, Drolson and Enoy, partners in beach volleyball for this team. The Littles, lethal team, so frustrating for big opponents. They hit and hit and hit, and it just keeps popping up. That beach team under the guidance of Stein Metzger. And you would think that he would pair them with a big hitter, but he says no, they work so well together, they love it.
Good recognition on his part.
Shut down, Sebelden and Jones.
Sebelden performing like she wants to be player of the week. Swing block there. Chrissy Jones on the outside. Sebelden coming in and reading it. You know, the execution for the Huskies and their swing block, very technical.
Claire Felix fired up.
She is. Kind of turned her chin over her right shoulder and gave a little fist pump and was talking to the Huskies. You like that fighting spirit, that fiery nature of her.
Yeah, it feels good to her. I mean, she's been looking for that slide set. It's her favorite all day long, and she gets one. She's going to crush it. Scambray, meanwhile, a double-double for her. 10 kills, 13 digs.
The crucial 21-point mark in this set. The Huskies would love nothing better than to put this one away.
Left hand of Namo is good.
Big pancake there, and Namo getting down on the floor. Guess who's back in? Rogers. Formico up there, sorry, Anne-Marie, and she's barking out orders and letting her team know who's up and what's going on the other side of the net.
Pancake. Tough angle. Well played by Namo, and then UCLA point. UCLA on an 8-match winning streak. Washington has won 26 Pac-12 matches at home in a row.
Just like the other night, Friday night, there's a streak that would be snapped, and there will be here this afternoon, no matter what. Will it be UCLA's 8-match win?
Zonamuno has her team within 3. Chrissy Jones. This is a lot like set 2, though, Tammy. UCLA came back and won set 2, given the opportunity.
You get the feeling that the Huskies need to absolutely score here in order for them to get away with the victory, because UCLA is still making big plays.
Yeah, Zonamuno. Beautiful set to the middle.
Yeah, there's another one right there. Jenny Frager, Muno and Frager teaming up, and that's what you want to be able to see more of.
I do love the look on Muno's face. Very calm. You've seen no distress the entire match. She's still totally thinking this offense. They're within 3. Drolson gonna set it. Bushler, tough angle, no block. It's good from Tanner. And Seeley saying not close.
He said that was a whole diameter of a ball out. That was long behind the end line. Line judge put the flag down.
Tough from that angle to tell for sure. And a service ace. Sealer was asking in the last one, do I have a timeout left? He doesn't, and so now it is match point, Washington. Service error at match point. And on the service error, Washington has a successful weekend. They beat USC and UCLA. They're moving on up in the polls.
You know, this was a big test for the Huskies. They weren't thinking about their home Pac-12 match streak that was on the line. They were thinking about two really good teams. It started with them on Friday night against the #1 team in the nation, USC. They handled their business nicely, sweeping the Trojans, and then they had to come back today. Sunday volleyball, recover, at least get a lot of rest yesterday. And aside from set number 2 where they let UCLA back in, they closed the door in 4.
And we bring it back to Keegan Cook's comment earlier. He said, I couldn't love this anymore, but this couldn't be harder. A huge win for Washington. Meanwhile, UCLA, 4 tough games on the road. They won 3 of 4 of those matches. They're going to go home and host Colorado and UCLA. For Washington, 27 Pac-12 home matches in a row have gone their way. A big win for the 5th-ranked team in the nation. For Tammy Blackburn, Tim McQuillan, our producer, Lori Brooks, our director, and our fabulous Pac-12 crew, I'm Anne-Marie Anderson saying so long from Seattle.
November 13th, Full Court Friday is back.